Building a contending football team or any sports team program is a process. The Kamloops Broncos have gone through that process to the point where they are now considered contenders in the BC Football Conference, a reputation that makes it a whole lot easier to attract good players. And this past weekend, the Broncos held their spring camp, one that they are calling their biggest and best yet.
The Kamloops Broncos 2015 campaign was arguably their best in the BCFC. The team finished with 5 wins and 5 losses, good enough to earn a playoff date with the undefeated Okanagan Sun. The last season was also the final one for a number of key players in the Broncos organization.
We got a lot of holes to fill. We lost, obviously, a couple of our star offensive players with Derek and Devin and Steve on offense. And, we're looking for guys to come in and compete and be able to play for us right away.
So how do you replace 2,000-yard receivers and the league's best all-around quarterback?
I don't know if you do, right? I think it's, it's something where you have to kind of look at what you have and the kids coming in, and it's almost by committee almost, right? I mean, we got to be a little bit smarter now, I think, in play calling. We're going to have to use, our offensive schemes a little bit more to our advantage now. We can't just rely and say, hey, just throw it to Derek or Dev and we'll be good to go.
Step one in rebuilding the roster took place this past weekend as the Broncos held their first training camp of 2016.
110 players, which is one of our highest numbers ever. We have grown every year, and this is sort of the top number we've had so far.
General manager of the Broncos, Jan Anton, says one of the toughest holes to fill will be at the pivot position. The team lost both Steven Schuweiler and Connor Whitelaw after last year.
We didn't just lose one, but we lost both of them, right? So we have 7 quarterbacks here who are trying out, and it looks really good for us.
Head coach Brad Yamoka isn't worried about not having an established quarterback. He says the prospects at camp have potential.
At the end of the day, we don't have a quarterback on our roster per se right now, but we've got some young kids coming in and, a couple guys that are a little bit older but haven't played a lot of football in the last couple of years that I think are going to be able to step in and, take the reins.
Ready to go. Through him, Digger. Through him. There you go, Digger. Good job.
He also understands there are other ways to make up for the points guys like Schuweiler and Yatchison represented.
Really try to shore up our defense, and I think if our defense plays well enough and we can be a better defensive team, that'll take some pressure off of our offense for sure.
For now, the Broncos staff is focused on identifying new talent, then preparing those players for the upcoming season, which will be the true test of these new recruits.
You never know how these kids are going to perform when the lights are on because, you watch highlight films and everyone puts their best plays on highlights and everyone looks good on a highlight film. So, when they kind of come in and compete against some older kids and some veteran guys, it's an opportunity to see what they can actually do. And I think we'll be okay, I think.
Adam Donnelly, CFJC Sports.